Monbasa, Mvita. Today I'm going to talk about things that go boom, in bracket, hacking. This is a topic I approached some other time. It's a topic I've been going on and on and on about. It's an issue that raises special interest. I thought it was only happening to me, but I've realized things are also happening to others. It's interesting that hacking of gadgets can be done by service providers of communication systems. Some local communication gadgets that they sell to themselves. And then it becomes their personal possession. They have an obsession of owning those gadgets even when you have bought them. In that, they want those lines permanently locked to them. And if you try to unlock them by going to a computer or to phone repairers, the phone repairers are threatened, and then they override the new changes all by themselves, put you back to that space, or make sure your gadget does not work. And if you go back to them, they tell you they cannot be able to fix the network. That is a strange thing. But you go to some companies that collect old phones, repair old phones, refurbish old phones. Those companies, we know them. Companies that once an item goes to them, it's considered an old item. I saw some names even resemble some appliances on the phones. You can find out yourself what they are. And what happens? The moment you go to those companies and have your network, remember, they are service providers, but this time they cannot give you a network. No. For your SIM card, you have to go to some companies or to a some cybers. And then your network is reinstated. Interesting thing. The service providers lose control of the ability to give their own network. But the worst is this. Sometimes when you go to a different service provider, then you find workers collude, and there is constant hacking across the lines. It sometimes takes the effort of other service providers to fervently fight with you so that you can be able to retain your network. And this does not stop there. They make sure that your airtime does not stay. Sometimes when you put airtime, immediately you load the airtime. Your phone reads 0. Or it runs for a very short time and it's all finished. Punishment for not sticking within a locked up system. But what surprises people is that it's not only the communication companies, the service providers. Looks like there are other players who play unhindered. What do I mean by unhindered? They are so bold that they can keep hacking even when you put messages to security services. You're reporting them. They are hacking even the very line, security line, that you are reporting them on. For instance, the police hotline. People so brave that they can hack when you are reporting on a cyber hotline. But they do not stop at that. They will proceed on. Despite what things that you do. When you go to the service providers, they tell you their responsibility lies with giving you a line. Don't tell them about internet, no. Though it is money that is consumed by the payment you make on those service providers' payment. But this time, no, they don't even own the network functioning. Theirs is to provide you a line to call on, pay for that to call on, and then I wonder, why do you have these things they call this for serving, this for internet? Is it done blankly? Is it done as according to service providers? Or are there other auxiliary companies that provide ability to surf on the net? The time you go, they will deny. They don't even have the ability. No, the gadgets here, these gadgets, these small things, applications, work very differently. It's not even the sale of the, no. It's not even the line. That one doesn't deal with those. No. With ours, we just give you the line, the payment for the line. Is the line working? If the line is working, that's okay. Some go as far as interfering. Let's say you have monetary application lines or gadgets. They interfere. You go back to them, they tell you this is a different thing that is operating. But you find there is consistent interference with the same company. When the worst comes to the worst, the same companies are the ones that reinstate. Why they told you these things, they're totally different. But what happens? They interfere. And then what happens? There are other players, hackers, hacking even different things. May it be company things or whatever. You may pay for an item in a shop, an item in a company, a service in a company. But things are exaggerated and hacked. And on trying to trace, you can never get to any other place because everybody disowns. The service provider disowns. A company that may have exaggerated disowns. And everybody keeps disowning. Surprising thing is that money on the electronic media disappears. I've had several people, some even getting sick, being taken to hospital because their money suddenly disappeared from the lines. There was a time when a member of parliament, you remember that story, went to, was it his or her phone to check the balance when money was urgently needed. And to her shock, she had money, but this time she realized the phone did not have any money. Strange. It happens. There are times even the monetary line is exaggerated in that you cannot be able to read figures. Now you find things just flowing. You put the message, you want to get to the beginning, it's not there. Everything is confused in a confused jumble. You buy something somewhere or you pay for services somewhere, then suddenly what you had paid through the, the, the network suddenly is not there. So you did not transact anything on that monetary line. You have never transacted anything as far as that figure is concerned. It disappears. The money was spent, but suddenly there are no records. There's no record on your phone. There's no record on the place you are paying. So you never spent, but the money went. Question arises. Who are these people who have the audacity to do all these things unhindered and are even brave enough to hack cyber hotlines or police hotline when you are reporting? They interfere. They interfere, literally. Until you wonder, who are these? Who can dare hack a hotline? A security police hotline? But it's happening. And sometimes those who can talk, they always threaten their consequences. You talk about this, we shall interfere with you. We shall get to your family. We shall get to... So it looks like it's a game they are playing. But the sad thing is the very, very, very service providers appear to have either their workers, because there are times when you can have rogue workers doing things. If not the rogue workers, then they should own up to being part and parcel of the whole scam. Because sometimes you report, sometimes you ask them to triangulate, and nothing happens. You go to them, they tell you, in fact, you are not being hacked. Sometimes you're hacked even within the premises. And you wonder now, what is this? Are hackers supposed to be service providers? Are they supposed to be people outside that you cannot be able to tell? It looks like the regime of managing hacking in this country is in limbo. Because if the companies, service providers, cannot be able to check on hacking, and what we know is when something like that happens, you are supposed to run to the service providers for rescue. Something like charging the amount of money you use. How can you put money on a line you want to call? Maybe you have got different lines. For instance, you put 50 shillings or 100 shillings, and then immediately it reflects your amount. 50 shillings has entered that. You call hello, your balance is 0. Tell me, which call costs 50 shillings in Kenya? Just to put a number. It's happening. Sometimes it leads to grafts in companies because they know they will overcharge you. And then when you try to follow up, there's no message on your money provider, the service provider that deals with money. And when you go back to a company or to wherever, suddenly their records have also disappeared. So you are left looking like a liar, a fool, somebody who has thought up figures and gone to trouble people. These are things that are happening. I understand this is cyber graft. But then, once you have been put there, you can imagine you used a service provider that gives monetary services. You paid, You got receipted. The moment you start following, the receipting part, the part that tells you have paid this much on this, disappears. The amount, the one that you had disappears, and suddenly you are left wondering. You never paid anything. They never received anything, yet you paid and you saw everything. And you look a fool. You look a fool. I'm saying this because these things are consistent. The service providers don't seem to be of any help sometimes. Sometimes the workers openly show you they are having some collaboration. Because you go, you are told this, you are told that. But sometimes you get somebody who was not there. The same thing that they say they don't do anything to is able to be repaired by somebody, just same place, doing those applications that they could not get to, that were to be taken to the cybers, that were to be taken to some companies that repair, that collect old phones, that do that suddenly are able to take over the ability and capability of the service providers to connect you. They give you the airwaves. But the companies that are supposed to give the register are totally helpless. They can't give you the network. Go to the cyber. Oh, they are helpless. What a situation. Who is going to help Kenyans from this problem? I thought, but I've heard from other people, they have also lost that way, and figures have disappeared. You paid, you saw it enter, you got the number, you got receipted. There is no receipt, there is no payment, and the same happens on the other side. And now you are left looking a fool. Did you actually pay? Or are you crazy imagining your own things? It's a high time that the service providers also looked into this, looked into the dedication of their workers. Because it's leaving people in a quagmire. Everything is going electronic. The time that we used to carry paper money, coins, is almost over. People had trust in electronic money. Now, with this happening, when do you know when you have money, or you go to the shop and suddenly you have nothing? Sometimes you go to the supermarket and the transaction is stopped. You try to pay and nothing is happening. Actual hacking. What could be happening? Could be service providers be party to this thing? Or there are rogue workers allowed to? The equipment able to do this? How are the hacking equipment, the network equipment provided in Kenya by the Kenyan law? Who is supposed to own them? Who is responsible for such things? Because such things have to be explained. I've been wondering, people who can be so daring that they can hack a hotline. You can use a cyber, there are these lines that they say, they are landlines, which are unhackable. Strange enough, you try and the hackers stop everything still until you wonder. These are the unhackable lines. But now, let's talk about the hackable or the unhackable lines. Question is, what is the regime that guides the ownership of these gadgets, the use of these gadgets? Because before these things are defined, everything will be in a quagmire. This is something that we can even ask. Which department registers these gadgets in this country? Are they registered? Are there laws that allow them to operate? Maybe the Communications Commission of Kenya can kindly help us get to know. Because even the service providers that we are supposed to have trust in have become a nightmare. I don't know if I'm the only one and the few that have responded we have talked to, but that appears to be the situation. The very companies that are supposed to help us leave us helpless. Somebody solve this problem. That's my take for now.